Hello, everyone. My name is James Carr, U.S. Senate candidate for the great state of North Carolina. Today, it is my honor to speak with Mrs. Helen Carr, owner of the Village Christian Academy. Hello, Mrs. Carr.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Now, you know it's always a pleasure to speak with you and really to look at you. So we need to keep this very professional, okay?
Okay. Okay.
So
All right.
keep
I'll
that in
try.
mind as you gaze into my eyes, that this is professional. This is for the American people.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Mrs. Carr, as I said, it's always a pleasure actually speaking not only with you, of course, as my lovely wife, but also speaking with entrepreneurs like yourself. I believe that you exemplify what it means to better yourself, which I believe is the key to happiness. So with that in mind, can you please tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am a wife of U.S. candidate James L. Carr Jr., mother of three, Jaylon Austin Carr, Jensen Elena Carr, Jenna Elise Carr, and I am a teacher, a wife, I guess I should say wife, mother, teacher, business owner, entrepreneur, principal. I love children. I love looking at how they process information, and I believe that all children can learn. We just need to figure out how to teach them.
Awesome. Okay. Well, with that in mind, tell me a little bit about your business, the Village Christian Academy.
So the Village Christian Academy was birthed out of the concept of homeschooling. So we began homeschooling our children, 20 some years ago. And when other families would see me out and about with our three blessings, they would always be curious, why aren't these children in school? And I would tell them, they are in school. This is school. The world is school. So they then wanted my number. They wanted to chat with me about tutoring their kids and homeschooling and that process. And as they chatted with me, they wanted me to tutor their children. So we began tutoring in our home for several days a week. And then the parents wanted me to teach their children full-time. So the state said, in order to have the children full-time, you need to open up a private school. So that's what we did. We started that venture in opening up a private school based on the philosophy of every child can learn. We just need to know how to reach them, and we teach to the specific needs, the particular needs of each child, because we're all unique and different. We all process information differently, and that has to be cultivated and appreciated with each one of our children. So that was how the Village Christian Academy began.
Awesome. So now, was there some other motivation? I know you've gone over quite a bit there, but since I've known you for a very long time as an independent individual, not your husband, when I first met you, you told me that you wanted to be a principal. You wanted to have your own school. We were in college. So what motivated you to, so you're not, instead of going back into the school system, what motivated you to start your business as opposed to going and working in the school system?
So I was in graduate school to receive my master's in reading and school administration. And, we had just started our family, and just trying to balance all of that. I felt like I needed to step back from graduate school to focus on our children. And with the homeschooling, I realized that, homeschooling is a unique opportunity to educate your children. And, it wasn't the choice, the decision was not based on religious reasons or a problem with any other academic setting. It was more that I wanted to enjoy this process with our children. And then I started to realize that I could have a private school without going the stereotypical route of being in the school system. And we know that the landscape of education changes vastly every year. Every school is unique. Every school has awesome, outstanding teachers. Every school has families that are desperate to find a place that is appropriate for their children. And our academy is another venue, and just not going down the stereotypical path, thinking outside of the box, looking at children that need out of the box processing and out of the box experiences. We wanted the Village Christian Academy to be another option for parents. The public school is fantastic. I worked there for 6 years and met wonderful teachers. Oh my goodness, phenomenal teachers, phenomenal families. And I just wanted to have something that I could take to other children, and give them the opportunity to have something that was developed and centered around them. To, like I said, to give parents an additional option to the academic landscape that they could expose their children to. And I knew I realized after homeschooling that I didn't have to go the stereotypical path. And I like that. I like not doing the stereotypical thing.
Awesome. So now I'll ask you a personal question,
Okay.
because obviously there's always issues with, well, not always, but sometimes people talk about women in the workplace. And I
Mhm.
know that one of the issues for me personally, when you were going to grad school, was our son, and I'll put him on blast a little bit here, that he loved his mama. and, and so um, and so there were some issues with him, and not that there were problems, but I kind of want you to speak to what you were feeling as a mom, kind of trying to balance going to grad school, not going to grad school, staying home, and pouring into your kids
Mhm.
as opposed to going off to
So,
grad school.
so Jaylon loved being with me, and to put him in an environment, where I wasn't there, I didn't think that that was necessary for his social, emotional, intellectual, physical development. I felt like my being there was the best thing for his social, emotional, intellectual, and physical development.
Mhm.
And so being around him, developing, watching how he developed, setting up the environment around his interests and all of his needs, that actually cultivated my whole desire to create a school that was designed around the kids, specifically around kids' needs. You look at how kids process information, you look at their interests, you look at just how they are, various types of learners, and to be able to create an environment that I had done with my children, to be able to do that for other children, that was
Right.
important to me.
So did you see a big difference between, so we have 3 kids. So did you
Yes.
see a big difference in their learning styles?
Oh,
And that,
absolutely. We're all different in the way that we process information and our learning styles. Jaylon did not want to sit still. He learned to read at 3 years and 7 months, because I had to be creative in allowing him to jump and move and sound out words physically. Jensen, on the other hand, she would sit for hours just enraptured with and captivated with sounds and words and letters and numbers, and she learned from him. And then Jenna, they taught her everything. She wanted to keep up with them. She wanted to learn everything that they learned. And so that was all of those things, it just took a part of their learning, and was basically designed. All of our activities were designed around that. All of their interests, we would pick and choose different activities for each one of them, and they caught on to all their phonics, their math, and it was just amazing. And I wanted to do that for other kids as well.
awesome. So one of the things that, in talking with entrepreneurs, that kind of sticks out to me is just simply following your passion really is a
Mhm.
blessing to everyone around you, because it sounds like you took the experience with our kids and you
Mhm.
translated that into helping other families in the unique
Absolutely.
situation that they were in. So could you
Mhm.
speak to that?
Absolutely. I encountered so many moms that wanted the experiences that I was providing for our children. They wanted it for their children, but they felt like, I don't want to leave the workforce to do it, or I don't feel that I'm capable of doing it. And I love the way you're doing it. So could you do that for my children? And I said, yes, I absolutely can. And it all started off with one family that believed in my philosophy and agreed with my philosophy. And that one family soared. And then it just became more and more families. Your question was how other moms could relate to that.
Well, yeah, basically you following your passion, how that
Yes.
was a blessing to others.
So my passion, that was exactly my passion. Just looking at how other children processed information and finding curriculum that matched their process, and finding information that matched teaching strategies that matched their processes, their processing, and then coordinating and creating a program that fit that, an educational plan that fit that. And that was my passion in the school system, just being surrounded by wonderful, wonderful teachers that mentored me and encouraged me. And I took that and said, okay, well, I'm going to use that with my children, with homeschooling, and then it expanded that with homeschooling to, okay, so I'm doing this with our 3 blessings. Why can't I do this with more kids? This dream of mine of always wanting to be a principal, it actually, it's amazing how it's so uniquely different from what I initially thought being a principal should look like, and it's just been wonderful.
Okay. So I want you to expand on that. So obviously
Okay.
there are a lot of issues, or I don't issues, perceived issues, real issues with the public school system. So from
Okay.
your perspective, how do you view the public school system?
I view the public school system as a great source for so many families. There are wonderful teachers out there who are doing or trying to do exactly what I'm doing, but on a larger scale. I am fortunate that I can keep our ratio 1 to 10 or 2 to 10. Um, if we could, the school system struggles because of the sheer number of kids. And if we could have programs where every child is reading before they start school, or if we didn't, if we had the environment set up so that when before a child started school, even in the families that, it's at birth, when they're surrounded by just information, because they're sponges at that age. As soon as they come here, before they're out of the mother's womb, they are absorbing information, and just if we could have those types of environments set up, the school system is like I said, it's already doing a magnificent job with the resources that they have. And if we could go back and restructure some things where there are more resources for before school, right after birth, right up to before preschool, into preschool, into the school system, if you have the appropriate resources and the appropriate information and environment set up, then yes, the school system is doing a magnificent job with what they have, and like I said, that of course we know teachers deserve much more pay and credit than what they are given. After having been in the school system myself and seeing how hard teachers work, and how desperate the families want more for their kids,
Mhm.
so.
Awesome. Okay. So you told me a lot now. You probably hit on a lot of this already, but tell me how this business actually represents you.
How this business represents me, I would say because I'm a mom, I'm a nurturer. I love to look at how kids process information. All of these things are poured into our academy. Every teacher that we've hired that work for us have all been homeschooling moms. At some point or another, they've homeschooled. They all have degrees in subject area, but the most important one for me was homeschooling, because I knew that those were out of the box thinkers. A lot of our teachers have taught in the public school system as well as homeschooled, and we see that desire to make those two worlds match. And being out of the box thinkers, we're able to create an environment and utilize curriculum in unique ways that represent me, which is our philosophy. Every child can learn. We just need to know how to teach them, how to reach them, and teach to their specific needs. And we've seen great success. within months, the first semester of the school year, within months, just watching, children jump 3 grade levels in their reading and in their math. It's been amazing. But again, we have our ratios are low.
Mhm.
We're able to create an environment in which we can hone in on our children.
Okay.
And so that's what represents me. It
Okay.
starts from that philosophy that
Mhm.
every child can learn. It starts as for us as moms, the things that we want for our children and to be able to be with our children. And we're able to do that in this environment and pour that into other children.
Awesome. All right then. So what are your future plans?
Okay, so the Village Christian Academy will continue to grow
Okay.
in Jesus' name. We will add more teachers and add more students. Our goal is to start a relationship. Well, there's so much that we offer already. We have the vocational rehabilitation in which our children are able to work through a program that prepares them for the workforce and for college. We have college tours. A big thing that I really would like to do is to start a kind of a liaison program with some of the colleges where our kids are fed right into particular colleges that they're interested in. We are really trying to expand our apprenticeship opportunities for our students so that whenever they start in high school in 9th grade, they already know if they want to be an apprentice for air conditioning, for HVAC, if they want to for plumbing, for for any of those employment opportunities. If they already know that, we want to go ahead and get that established. We also have dual enrollment in which children take classes at the community college for free. And then that prepares them for 4-year colleges or to continue with community college after high school. So we want to continue to increase those opportunities for our scholars. We want to see more donations coming into our school where we can have, because a lot of our children are here on scholarship through the state. So we know that there are still financial needs out there that the Village Christian Academy has in order to meet the needs of our scholars. So we would like to see more donations coming in and more interaction with our community, where our scholars are going into the public school system and into daycares where they're reading and doing math and showing just an increased hands-on experiences with those younger ones that are coming up so that they can have those opportunities as well.
Okay. So why education for you?
My education
Yeah. And of course, I know this
for
story.
me
Yes. I'm
as
curious if
as
you're
a
gonna,
teacher, why
as
did
a
I pick
teacher.
this?
Well, no, as you told me a story about how the influence that someone had on your life.
So
Yeah.
education, I was in high school and I was a North Carolina scholar, and there were so many courses that we needed to take in high school to become a North Carolina scholar. And I think I needed like maybe 1 or 2 courses. And I thought, you know what, let me see. I went by the guidance counselor's office. We had a wonderful, wonderful guidance counselor. And she gave me the course list, and I was like, you know what, being a teacher's assistant in the elementary school, let me try that. Let me look and see what that would be like. So I signed up for that class, and there was a 4th grader that was struggling to read. And I went in, and I was, like I said, thinking outside of the box, trying to come up with ways to get him interested in reading. And he would just get so excited. I would be very dramatic and just doing lots of tactile things with him. And he was just in awe every day. And I was like, oh my goodness. And his reading jumped. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. So I found my calling, eureka. So that was the amazing thing that happened to me. Yes.
Awesome.
Just working with that little boy and teaching him to read. That was amazing.
Awesome. And I know if you can see the background here, all those books on that shelf is nothing compared to what's actually in this house. But from our kids reading, our kids read a lot.
Yes.
And I remember it's funny when you have a 2-year-old looking at you and rationalizing with you. And I remember just thinking, oh my God, how do you have this vocabulary? You read all the time, for all 3 of them. And so, definitely, I love to read still now. probably more in the audio books at this stage, but I grew up reading a lot. And so to me, it just opens up your world so much to possibilities. And
Mhm,
so I think what you're
mhm,
doing, especially focusing on reading as strongly as I know that you do, is to me such a gateway.
mhm.
So you talk, yeah, I think you kind of touched on this, but what would you like to see from a reading perspective from the school system in general, or how would you like to see an emphasis put on that from the school system perspective?
Well, there's so much already that the school system does.
Mm,
I think that again, if we can get books in every home before kids start public school, if we started programs where at birth, at the hospital where they're giving out car seats and
mm,
all of the birthing material, if we gave out books,
mm.
that would be absolutely phenomenal for the kids, that the moms would be able to read to the babies every
Mm,
day, and programs like that. I think, things of that nature
mm.
would be wonderful.
Right. I know every time you give a gift to someone, a new mom, you include
It's a
books.
book.
It's books and clothes. All right.
It's book. And our entire the backbone of our entire curriculum here is literature. It's
Mm,
reading.
mm.
Our math curriculum is heavy reading in it.
Okay.
So, it is the spine of everything that we do. Everything grows outward from the reading as our spine. Everything grows from there.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So now political questions.
Okay?
Couple of them for you here. Do
Okay?
you believe that government helps, hurts, or has no influence on your business?
The government absolutely helps my business because, like I said, the landscape of education has changed vastly in the last, I mean, 2 days. So, but seriously, vastly since we began this whole process of home educating our children, and then privately educating so many of the children here. And our whole dynamic of our school is set up like a large homeschool family, right? So a lot of the children's ability to attend this school is based on government funds.
Mm,
And because they have the opportunity scholarship, they have the children's with disability scholarship, they have the educational savings plan, so that families who could not typically afford private school and have their kids in an environment where it's a smaller setting, and where the kids are able to receive more one-on-one services, and those kids that really need it and would just be falling through the cracks in any other environment, not to that environment's fault by any fault of their own, but just because of the nature of the beast and the services that they are trying to provide.
mm.
So I would say the government has actually helped my business.
Okay. Awesome. So now, if I'm elected, what policies would you like for me to advocate for?
Well, when you are elected, the
Yes.
policy that you will advocate for would be for stronger families and more support for the public school system. This we can all work together. I am on the phone at least 3 times, 4 times a month, working with someone in the public school system where we are collaborating back and forth to help a child. We are learning from each other. I know that your policies will lift up the public school system, give the teachers more money. Look at that lottery, find out where that money is going to, get the money to the teachers, get the resources where the classrooms can be smaller. People talk about this all the time. It's the same problem, decade after decade after decade. We know that when kids are in a smaller environment, you can give more one-on-one attention. Make that a priority. Stand on the battlefield, scream from the mountaintops. We have to get the funding for the teachers so that will help the kids.
All right. So in closing, is there anything else that you'd like to share?
I would like to share that teachers deserve respect. We know that it's a decades old argument. I would like to see that respect occur. And I know that you are a candidate that will fight for that respect for teachers, because where would we be without teachers?
Right.
I look at when kids come into the school and they're sick, they're tired, they're hungry. Who do they turn to? They turn to their teachers. Yes, Families are awesome, but I can tell you when those kids sit down in that classroom, they're going to share everything with their teacher. So I remember when we would take our kids to piano lessons, and the piano, when I picked them up from piano, the piano teacher would be like, oh, so you guys are going to be in Alexandria this weekend. You're going to the White House. You're going to be in DC and see the White House. I'm like, well, how did you know that? But she goes, oh, kids tell me everything. And I'm like, of course they do, you know? So their fears, kids' fears, their concerns, their hurts, everything turns up within the school. If it's happening outside of the school, it's going to show up in the school first, because kids will take it to their teacher first. They're going to take all of anything that's happening at home, they will take it to the teacher. Anything that's happening in their community, they will take it to their teacher. Anything that's happening in their church, in their grocery stores, in, you know, every aspect of their lives, it's going to show up in the school first. So those are my ending words.
That was awesome. Well, I tell you, it was obviously a pleasure speaking with you as always, and looking at you and enjoying you. And I can't wait for you to get home this evening. But I really do, very proud of you. But and I'll just a little shout out here. I remember when I first met you, you're the same person. You know, you loved education, you love life, and that comes across when you work with kids. And I think you really are obviously a blessing to me. You're a blessing to our family, but you are really a blessing to that school and to kids in general, because your love and passion really shines through. And I think that
Thank you.
what you are just such a perfect example to me of what it means to just follow your dreams and your passions, and how much of a blessing that can be to everyone around you. So thank you, Mrs. Carr, for allowing me to talk with you.
You're welcome, Mr. Carr.
Love you, and we will
Love
talk
you too.
later. Bye-bye.
Alrighty. Bye.